How's it going, everyone? Virtually Chris here. Today is the full review of the Backfire II electric skateboard. In this video, I'll be going over the top speed, the range, and a hill climb test, and then following up with my conclusions. Starting with the unboxing, we have two boxes, a box inside a box, which is definitely good for transport, and in the second box is the board itself. It's looking really awesome with those bright white wheels. I'm sure those will get dirty later on, but overall looking awesome. The board has a claimed top speed of 24.8 miles an hour and a range of 15 miles. Now let's get into the accessories box, which starts off with having the user guide right on top and the charger, which is 1.5 amps. After that, of course, it comes with a skate tool and a micro USB cable to charge the remote, which is actually quick charge compatible. It also comes with a hex wrench to get off the rear urethane, and the remote itself, which is definitely bigger than I expected. Alright, let's get into the first test, which is the speed test. Alright, so similar to my WowGo review, we are back at the UVM Medical Center where they have this handy dandy radar which detects how fast cars are going and is also really good for testing the max speed of electric skateboards. So we're going to test out the Backfire and see what we can get. So we just tested out the top speed of the Backfire, and on the website it claims to have a top speed of 24.8 miles per hour, and we got it to 22 miles an hour. This road isn't very smooth, so I could see why that could have something to do with it, with the vibrations of the board coming into play. But overall, that's a pretty decent result considering the price of this board. Okay, so we're on the Burlington bike path and we're going to be testing out the Backfire II's maximum range. And this is a great place to test this. It's a very flat bike path with not too many people, and we will know the maximum range. So, first impression of the Backfire, it has this really strange vibration effect. I think something's loose, or like the wheels are off kilter or something. Very strange. Look at this view though. Going up to speed, the vibration goes away though, so that's good.
That's what happens when you hit a puddle going like 15 miles an hour on an electric skateboard.
So we went about 6 miles on the Backfire II so far, and there is not that much noticeable voltage sag, which is really good considering the price of this board. You'd think they'd skimp out on the battery or whatever. It's at about half charge, it says, but it might be a little lower. It's like fluctuating between 2 bars and 1 bar on the remote. There's no way to check the battery indicator on the board itself, but the remote has plenty of lights on it. It's giant, so you can definitely tell your battery. My friend Austin took this thing through a massive puddle, and there's just water everywhere, but it held up fine, so I would say the water resistance on this is definitely as advertised. I wouldn't really worry about riding it through puddles or anything like that, but as with any longboard, probably don't ride it when it's raining out. So the Backfire just died, and it went 7.24 miles total. The WowGo still has juice. Like, I'm doing a WowGo review and Backfire review at the same time, so I figured I should bang these out. We weigh fairly similar, Austin and I, except I have a backpack on since he weighs a little bit more than me. So the same weight, same exact ride. The WowGo still has like 1.5 bars left, and Backfire is dead, which is interesting. After 7.24 miles, we're dead. I think the vibrating might have something to do with the range decrease, but even if that's the case, that means when the board dies, it stops braking because there's just no connection with the remote at all. Which that would be really concerning if you're trying to go down a hill and then suddenly there's no battery reserved for braking. So, very interesting. We're gonna go back to the studio and see what happened. All right, so what really happened in that incident, I'm not really completely sure. It still really baffles my mind. I've run this through many puddles since then. There's been no issues, so I'm not worried about the waterproofing of the product. I was talking with Jerry from Backfire Boards, and he thinks it was just a battery management system safety net because it noticed irregular current or something like, so really it could have been anything, but he said that their board has a feature, so if there's abnormal electricity, it'll shut off and not damage the components, which I think is a good thing for sure, but so strange, really strange. Anyway, let's go back to another day and do another proper range test. All right, so we're gonna do a take 2 here on the Backfire range test, back on the Burlington bike path, and I'm just gonna go solo today, and let's see how far I can push this board. I'm gonna be going close-ish to top speed probably the whole time, so it's not really the best cruising speed, but with that being said, let's do another test. So the Backfire just died after going 8.16 miles. I can confirm that. Like, it's still on, but there's no juice left in that at all. It does still brake this time, unlike the last test though, so I think there was definitely something wrong with it last time. But yeah, that is the official number, 8.16 miles. Some things to note with this board, there's not really that much voltage sag until around the last mile or so, then there's a very noticeable voltage sag. Like, you stop, like you're going half speed, you're going quarter speed. But I mean, that is definitely better than the Meepo or the Wowgo, for example. Like, you know, they kind of have a very slow voltage sag that creeps up on you. This one goes fast for quite a while. All right, I'm at the steepest grade I could find, which is 16 degrees. Yeah, this hill is probably the steepest hill in Burlington that I could find. So we got the Backfire II, and let's see how fast we go going up this hill. All right, here we go. Very slippery road today. Okay, we're going full throttle right now. We did successfully make it up the hill, which is awesome. I just got back from the hill climb test, and it went 9 miles an hour up that hill pretty much consistently, and that hill was a 16-degree hill, which converts to a 28% grade, and they advertised 25%, so that means thumbs up for the hill climb test. It can definitely tackle hills. With that being said, I don't think I'd go over hills at less than full charge or half charge. After that, you start noticing some severe voltage sag, and I doubt you'd be able to get up those hills. But at least when you have full charge, you can definitely get up hills. Not fast or anything, but you do get up. With that being said, it's time for the conclusion. Do I think this board is worth the money? Definitely at the $399 price point, which is going to be on their Indiegogo campaign starting on Tuesday. And along with that, it has $19 shipping to the US. That really makes things interesting because that means this board is now only $50 more expensive than a Meepo or Wowgo. And those boards are great and all, but I think to get the same ride comfort, you'd have to update the deck on the Wowgo or Meepo, which would bring the price up to around this or even more if you wanted a better deck. So if you're looking at this deck, you think this deck is awesome, I definitely recommend getting the Backfire. Along with that, you have the ability to replace the rear urethane on the back wheels, which is just amazing. Like, every electric skateboard should be able to do that, and I think it's definitely worth it to pay the extra money to have that ability. So does the board perform less than advertised? Absolutely, but I think companies always do a lot to kind of fudge their numbers. For example, with range of boards, I always run them at top speed or close to top speed. whereas companies will usually be on the slower setting, going pretty slow to get the range that they advertise. Which makes sense, obviously. And then for the top speed, could have been my vibration issue, but I think 22 is definitely what you'll be getting if you buy this board. And for hill climbing, as always, the battery percentage plays a big role into if you can get over that hill or not. And at full charge, I would say you can definitely get up hills, but at lower charges, you might want to be a little bit careful. And, you know, hills definitely do drain these batteries a lot, so if you can avoid hills, definitely do. Now with that being said, there are some negatives that I don't particularly like about this versus other budget options. The first thing is the remote. While I did like it at first, it has an issue, at least mine does, where if you go on the brakes, it doesn't have a brake until about half, and then you're at half brake, and that's a little bit scary to deal with. So the good thing about this is, though, is you can swap this with a Meepo or a WowGo remote very easily just by pressing the pairing button, or vice versa. So it really depends on what remote you like. If you have big hands, this is definitely a nice remote. But it is nice that this remote has all these lights on it, so you really do know the charge of your board, you know what mode you're in, and everything is very clear, which I do like. But yeah, if that issue is fixed, I would definitely like this remote more. And of course the major issue I had was the vibration. It's still there. I've been riding this a lot and the vibration still exists, but I've heard that this has been QC'd and fixed. So if you're buying this now, you shouldn't have to worry about that. I think that would make this instantly better than a Meepo or WowGo, but right now I prefer the ride of those just because I'm not vibrating everywhere. So that will definitely be improved, I think. One last thing I don't really like is the grip tape. I love the design, don't get me wrong, but it is like sandpaper. Like if you rub your finger against it, your finger is screwed up. Like I couldn't even use thumbprints on my phone to unlock it with the fingerprint scanner. So definitely be careful when you're carrying this board. I would say carry it by the top trucks for sure. But yeah, overall, I'm very impressed. It's a good price. Like, you know, when I first started my review, I was thinking this board cost $500, but now we're getting it down to $420, and I think that is definitely a better deal. So once the Indiegogo campaign goes up, I will link it in the description down below, and definitely do be sure to check that out. There are some tiers. If you get in early, you'll get this for a better price. And yeah, I mean, the good thing is I have a board, I know it's real. You're not gonna get scammed, at least I don't think so. I mean, this seems like a pretty trustworthy company because I actually have the product, they actually are manufacturing these, so I wouldn't worry about that too much. I've been grilled with some Kickstarters in the past, so I'm confident to say I think this one will do just fine. But yeah, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed. If you have any additional questions, leave them in the comments down below. I'll be sure to answer them, and I'll see you all in the next video. There's a Raptor 2 review coming out pretty soon. I love that board. It's obviously in a completely different price tier, so if you're in a budget board option, I'd say either get this or a Meepo or a WowGo. All those reviews are on my channel. See you all in the next video. Bye!